Hey everybody, this is Brittany here with Surfing Waves of Light, and today I'm going to channel a video for all of you. Getting ready to go rollerblading, and this message came through, so I'm going to close my eyes and bring through the guides. Many blessings to you all, wherever you are. Greetings, dear beings. It is I, the Arcturian Council of Light, and we are ever so pleased to be with you all today. We are a sparkly, shiny collective of beautiful, eclectic energies, one that brightens and shines and sparkles in the realm of energy. And therefore, we have the ability to share through this being the ways to embody the sparkle, the shine, and the brightness incarnate as humans. And as you all already know, there is a big process of transformation occurring here on the planet. There is a major shift from an unloving society and mind to a loving and caring society and mind. And this is the journey you all are on. You see, your mind is the creator of the reality that is around you. And this does not seem so, and yet it is. We tell you this out of love. We tell you this because it is blinding. The light the ego shines as an idol, as it helps you to look upon the world and make you think that you want the things that are in it. And yet this could not be farther from the truth. When beings have a deep, peaceful, unconditional loving experience, whether through space held on Earth or near-death experiences and the like, they come back to this plane with a renewed sense of possibility of what they could want. Many of you on this planet, many beings on this planet, have not had the opportunity to experience deep peace. This is not a priority in your culture, in your educational systems. Your systems are full of fearful apparitions, ones where you are punished, ones where you are disciplined, ones where you are constantly told what to do and to look outside yourself for the answer. And yet that is the one place you will not find it. And if deep peace was a priority in this realm, then many of you would want different things. You see, many of the lives that are created here on earth are created purely out of fear. Fear that comes from the conditionings and teachings of the adults that the children are exposed to. Now, of course, these children have chosen the parents. You have all chosen your journey. There is no one to blame. But yet, you can look upon the adults of your childhood and they will show you the blind spots that are in your own existence. Anywhere that you are telling a story that is not of love, that is not interpreted of peace, that is how you know you are out of alignment. And we know this because there is only the will of the universe. And yet you are an aspect of the universe. You planned this universe. And so while the universe may seem like an external force who is thrust upon you, in fact, if you can embody deep peace and trust, you will know in each and every moment that however the day is playing out for you, that is what you need. And oftentimes we put things in front of you that you do not understand. They may seem silly or reckless or unproductive, and yet We see visions of your future that you cannot imagine because of the blindedness you have from your idols, you have from the things on earth you worship. And yet that is why we continuously encourage you to find the peace, to get to the quiet, to be with yourself, to get to know who you are. Because it is from deep peace that you can make quantum decisions. This is not a matter of religion or of silly belief systems. This is a matter of fact on this planet. It is a matter of the logical steps a being must take to create the life they love. And it begins with a peaceful mind. It does not need to be at peace for 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. No. In fact, similar to some medicines you have there on this planet, even just a small dose of 5 minutes of deep peace a day, or 1 minute, 30 seconds, any sort of increase from your current norm will shift the internal environment. And this is the fun. This is the fun of going out and doing something you love, like surfing or skating or going into the mountains or going into your garden, and then coming back to your mostly 3D created life with new ideas, new inspirations, new ways of trekking, because the natural world is not out of accord. It is still under the consciousness of the higher realms. Earth is a higher realm planet, but it is having an experience of a unloving coexistence within that realm. And so it is an interesting mix. You see, there are many situations that can only be experienced here, and this is the novelty of the nuance of this plane. This is why beings may select to come here to Earth, because there are so many wide experiences that can be had here. And the journey from believing you are unworthy, that you are guilty, shameful, and suffering, to the embodied knowing that you are peace, that you are guided, that you are love. That journey is one of the most profound, one of the deepest experiences a being can have imprinted on their soul, because it is the key of unlocking all of illusion, is the knowing that you are a part of this creation, the knowing that you do have the opportunity to change your world and continue to change that world until you no longer resonate with this plane. That is the game. It is one simple message, and yet that message embodied can cause for many complexities because of the intense training you put yourself under through the experience of conditioning through adults and schools, religions, etc. And so it is quite a game you play here, and yet the answer is always peace. The answer is always love. The answer is always that you need do nothing to be worthy of your existence, and yet the 3D Earth calls. But there will be a moment, dear beings, in your future where you will look at something you thought you were obligated to do before, and you will see that you were not obligated at all. But do not try to cross this threshold until that feeling is embodied. We witness this with this dear being. She will logically understand something, and yet she is not able to embody its existence, embody playing that logical answer out on planet Earth. This is troublesome for many of you who are used to being in the faster dimensions, because here on Earth things move slower, and so patience is a key virtue that will allow you to really fully enjoy the experience. That is part of the transformation. You do not go through life not enjoying it. That is how you can be sure you will be stuck in this realm forever. Now, there are still ups and downs when you are on this path to light, and yet you will always come back to the up, because you will always know and embody the understanding of peace, the understanding that you are exactly where you're supposed to be, and that what is right in front of you is the trail to a better life, is the tiny path to a different existence where you can be truly free. And this is our main value, virtue, and objective. And this is also this being's main value, virtue, and objective, which is why we are her guides. Freedom is her main expression, because to beings on this planet, freedom is actually the expression of unconditional love. Because this planet has so many tricks of the mind that makes beings feel that they are obligated to do things they are not, freedom, being the opposite of that, is its highest expression. And so that will be the journey for this being and anyone who resonates with our guidance. Our guidance is for this being, and yet we know that there are many of you who we are also communicating with, that we are also gently nudging from the inside. And so we ask this being who has the gift of gab to allow us to speak through her, because she is a great linguist in the channeling realm. She is very good at taking pictures and bringing them to words and allowing us to flow through her when she does these simple and fun tasks that we have asked you all to do. The road to life in love is not paved with hard work and conditioned cave structures. It is fun. It is full of fun. It is full of connection. It is full of community. And that is where you will find us, in your communities, right around you, right where you are. There is a community somewhere that is waiting for you to be a part of it. And in that togetherness, every little piece of the puzzle will be located like an escape room. The beings around you all contain information that you need to know. When you can connect with them in a loving way, they will reveal that answer to you. And that is how you open the locks here on planet Earth. You send love to every single being, and then you allow them to share the gift of who they are, which will contain a part of the puzzle. You see, you cannot go back to the light alone, because you are separate. You only contain a piece of all that is. And so each being is already embodying some answers, and each being is also embodying emptiness where those answers are needed on how to physically embody and navigate peace and love. Some of you are understanding this logically, and yet it is the embodiment that is the tricky part. That is the part that will be the journey that we are here to guide you on. We love you all so very much, and we will speak to you again at another time. All right, cool. I had a question pop into my head that came from some conversations I had with beings around me, and the guides really want to channel on the answer. And the question is around dizziness, feeling extra sensitive, and sort of like in a fog or a cloudiness, like a mental tiredness. There are some people that are experiencing that right now, and the guides would like to chime in about what is going on. So bring them through. Thanks for listening. Okay, see you in a minute. Greetings, dear beings. It is I, Anastasia Germain, and I am pleased to be with you all today. I am here as a liaison to the universe, to God, to all that is. I am here to be the energetic embodiment of the loving wisdom that is required to continue on into the higher realms. That is my role. That is my right. And that is what I am here to express. And what I love most about being an energetic embodiment of the love of all that is that I have the opportunity to share with you the communicative aspects that love is. And so what the Course in Miracles teaches is that communication is love. Love is not separate. It is not away. It is actively seeking connection with other beings from a place of love, and it is coming to them with love in mind. And from that place, the amount of quantum information that is exchanged is overwhelming. There is so much that can come from connecting with other beings and being with them in person and being in love or pure thoughts. There is so much that can come from this. Okay, so what the guide said, because I'm having trouble channeling them, is that communication is love. And our bodies are giving us signals and signs right now. And the universe has turned the heat up on the sensitivity. So basically, time and space separates us from how sensitive we are. So for example, something will happen to us, and then maybe a month or years or weeks later, we may manifest an illness or a disease in our body that physically shows. And it's usually not just one event, it's usually multiple events. So when these events occur and we don't have a physical bodily reaction right away, that's because of time and space. Time and space is actually the expression of a slowed down quantum field, I'll say, because that's the best I can describe it right now. So there are people also experiencing different feelings around time. Days seem to be going by faster. And so as we are embodying, as you are experiencing this transition, basically the transition is that the universe is slowly turning the dial up on time and space to the point where everything will be instantaneous, because love is in the moment. And right now we're in a very distorted version of love, a love where we had the freedom to come to a place that was unloving. And so why we're feeling all these symptoms is because our lives are pretty much very unloving. Even if you live a great life, there is still a lot of mental and emotional issues. For example, you may see a lot of people that have money and think, oh, they're fine. And yet we find that a lot of people that especially come from money, families with a lot of money, this happens in all families, but we see it here, they may have a lot of money, but that money comes with a lot of expectation. So you couldn't necessarily put expectation physically, but you can be aware that you know people who have expectations placed upon them. And so it is things like that are very heavy on the mental, spiritual, and emotional. So physically, maybe they don't have to do hard labor, but just because there are some things put into place, that doesn't mean all things are good. So basically, even if you think someone's living a great life, some people are, but that's not necessarily so, as far as that doesn't mean they're not suffering in other ways. So when it comes to these headaches, this fog, these dizziness, we're being asked again to slow down. We're being asked again to take another step back. The Course in Miracles, for example, it will ask you to meditate 5, 10, 20, 50 times a day, to stop what you were doing and to think about a phrase that is the embodiment of unconditional love. And yet, for some of us, that can be really hard to do. I'm pretty good at doing the Course in Miracles maybe like a couple times a day. Sometimes I can hone it in for more, but when my mind is like pretty average, like not directly focused, where I have a lot going on, that's the best I can do. And so what the energies are naturally doing, whether you're studying the Course or not, the energies are naturally facilitating this information, because not everyone is going to read the Course in Miracles, and yet the universe is loving, and so it is facilitating this same information, whether or not people are reading books or having spiritual lessons. Everyone is having a spiritual experience right now. Their lessons may be different from yours, but so because this dial is being turned up, I guess I would say, so that time and space are beginning to collapse, this is why you're feeling so many symptoms. Because in the past, you may have had some bad things happen to you, and then a year later manifested something, or 50 years later, but now the feedback is coming back quicker. This is not a punishment. this is actually a gift, because love is communication. And so when people took abuse and resentment and shame for years and years and years, and then 70 years later, 60 years later, manifest stage 4 cancer, or I shouldn't even say manifest, but express stage 4 cancer, express thyroiditis, express, some sort of trauma, it's hard for the deeply ingrained 3D consciousness to recognize that connection, to see that the work is in those experiences, because it is so far away. And that is separation too. It's separation from the cause of what's going on, which is our minds. But sometimes we have to see it in the external world. Actually, we always need to see it in the external world, be triggered in the external world often when you're not thinking in a higher consciousness, before you will be able to bring that thought to the surface to re-examine its truth. And if it's below the vibration of pure unconditional love and forgiveness, it isn't true. And so that is how you know that time and space, well, no, I shouldn't say that. I got a little distracted. My phone went off, sorry. So time's collapsing. The feedback is more immediate. A lot of you saw a couple of years ago, people were starting to have a lot of different symptoms, right? Heart problems, cancers, all these different things. And it was very easy to blame certain things on why that was happening. And yet what the guides are telling me, because this world is loving, they're saying that anyone who passed during that time, that was their plan in this lifetime. They were not meant to continue on, and death isn't real anyway, so it's not really a huge deal. And then those people who had some sort of illnesses, they were being given lessons. They were being given feedback. Whether they received certain things or not, the feedback comes because a heart issue isn't singly the result of a physical thing in the physical environment, which we know externally isn't even real. The heart issue comes from unloving thoughts and beliefs that are played out in the external world through unloving relationships or patterns. And so the heart problem gave people an opportunity to take a step back from their lives, because on this planet, sickness is the only excuse most minds have without too much guilt to take a step away from their lives. Pretty much there's no excuse on planet Earth for the working class that we're thinking of right now for them to step back out of work. Basically, illness or the threat of death is the only way. And so many of you on planet Earth wonder, I'm kind of channeling now, wonder why so many people get sick and think God is evil and God is unloving. And yet actually the sickness is communication from love that something is wrong, that something is out of alignment. It's actually the chance for you to get out of work. It's the chance for you to get to examine. And when people have an issue that scares them enough, a lot of times the heart scares people. There's a lot of fear around the heart, and they're not here to play on the fear, but we're here to know how we can trigger you so that we can help you to see the thought that's holding you back the most. Because as we move through this quantum reality, what the guides look for is what is the heaviest, lowest frequency thought, idea, or belief that is holding this being back. Because it is really just everyone's lack of value of themselves that keeps them in jobs that don't pay well, and that keeps them in positions in life that aren't good. A lack of confidence, a lack of self-esteem, a lack of self-worth, value that was not placed upon beings. And so we see this situation on planet Earth constantly appearing, where you have someone who's very dedicated to a job that maybe isn't the only thing they love. It could be a loving job, but still very dedicated to just one thing, or children, or something that's outside of themselves, where they don't get to focus fully in on what they would do without anything around. And so, especially when these things are out of alignment or there's some unloving aspect, there are loving work situations. So we just use work in a lot of our examples. That's prime in this being. So what you'll see over and over and over again on planet Earth is people expressing these diseases, and it's not, and you think, oh my God, poor so-and-so, they're having this terrible disease. And yet the disease plays a twofold role in how it how it helps a being. It helps a being because it shows them that something is wrong. And it also helps a being because by the time a disease is expressed physically, that being has been suffering with that thought for a long, long time. And when you incarnated on earth, when every being incarnated on earth, they set a threshold of suffering, a threshold that was within their soul's capability to manage. And so when a being is getting closer and closer to that threshold of suffering, it is not that death comes upon them. It actually is the wish of the soul and the higher self's calling, because it knows it is not prepared for that level of suffering, and at the same time maybe it is not prepared to transmute the belief that lifetime isn't fitting for that transmutation. And so they will pass on, and all that really is moving into a state of pure unconditional love. And there's lots of reasons beings do this. Remember, they are just aspects of you. So if a being dies, a father, a mother, a sister, a friend, we think it would be helpful for beings to look at what they represented for you, because maybe the being isn't so real, but the representation symbolically, what they were to you, those aspects of your life, you may either be stepping more fully into and owning, or letting go, especially when it comes to lower frequency. It could be both. For one being, for example, this being with her father had a lot of fear. He was constantly telling stories of fear. This being hurt her foot, and he tells a story of how this guy hurt his foot and had to get it amputated. His mind would always go to the worst case scenario to prepare for the worst case, because that was what he thought was protective and safe. And yet obsessing over the worst case scenarios, as you all know, will not provide you with the best outcomes, because you are inviting those experiences in, if only to examine them to know they are not real. It also helps, went really far on that one. It also helps being with the good parts of a person. For example, with this being's dad, he was very handy. He did everything: plumbing, heating, carpentry, electrical, painting. I mean, the guy could do anything. And so after this being's father passed, her and her boyfriend got a bus, which they converted, and she was helpful but not the main person on this project. And so even though she wished every single day that her father was still here, she understands now that part of his passing was because it was time for her to embody more autonomy over the things that he did for her. And so that is not the only reason beings pass, but we want to pass that on to each and every one of you, because there is so much beauty that can come from the death experience, especially when a member of a community, a family passes on. There is a lot of gifts for the beings who lose them. Any sort of change in life, grief, or traumatic situation, there is a lot of opportunity in each and every one of those. So, the time, the energy is being sped up, because love is communication. It is instantaneous. Disease comes to the surface as a chance to say, hey, there's a lot out of alignment here. And alignment comes from addressing your day-to-day life, from addressing the mental, spiritual, and emotional. The physical is the last step. So when you go to the doctor and you get a pill and you do no other work and expect that pill to heal you, it will, because you believe in it. And yet, if you don't address the underlying cause, if you don't look around to see what that may have been, you will be missing the gift of that illness. The reflective time is so important, and that is why this world keeps you all so busy. Because if you are not reflective, you cannot evolve. And it is only reflection, communication with yourself. That is the need of each and every one of you. The answer will always be obvious. May it be easy to enact based on your conditioning? Maybe not, but the answer will be there. And if you are surrounding yourself with loving beings, you will be able to facilitate that response. You will be able to figure it out and take it baby step at a time, because there is no instantaneous healing that needs to happen. That is why the dial is being slowly turned up That is why you are all feeling a little more sensitive. We will keep the level here until you adjust. That is how this transformation goes. Time is up to each and every one of you. It is a matter of how fast you want to transform your beliefs. Even in this moment, we are showing this being that she is only talking to herself. And on a deep level, she knows that, but she doesn't always see. We've been incepting into her mind the idea that most of her reality is artificial intelligence. People, places, and things that are calling out to her, that are out of alignment, asking her for this or that or help. She is starting to realize that they may not be that real, or they may be an aspect of herself, an egoic aspect of herself, that is just distracting her from her purpose, which is her self-healing, which is her self-communication, is the opening up of all the thoughts, beliefs, and ideas that we all closet under our minds because they're so bad we don't even want to admit that we have these thoughts. And then it is just allowing them out and saying, oh yeah, I do think that, but that's not who I am. It's just an idea that I was given and I accepted before I really had the chance to consciously know what I am. Any low frequency behavior you have, it's not who you are. It's just an aspect of you that you were trained into, like a dog. It's just a trick. It's an ego actor. That's not who you are. And when you see those negative aspects of yourself, we all want to hide them. We all don't want to share them with the world. And yet it is our job to share them with the world. Because, not with the world, sorry. You don't need to share them with the world. Well, you are the world. It's your job to share them with yourself. Because when you heal yourself, then we can turn the dial up and up and up. And even though it seems like the world is getting worse externally, you watch the news, all these things, if you actually take a look at your life, you will see that it is better. You will see that you have more freedoms than you did. You will see that you are a little braver, a little stronger, a little more of yourself than you ever were. And even though it seems like financial chaos and market chaos, all sorts of chaos around, wars and all the things, weird election stuff, that if you look at your life, you will see that it is getting better, and that actually a lot of these controls are shifting away, because these entities outside of you, they are not so strong, especially since you've begun to reevaluate them. The beautiful thing about the past few years is that so many of you have looked at the world and began to question. Whereas before that, you fully accepted the political system, the Hollywood system. All of the conditioning was just what you were spoon feeding it to yourself. Now you are beginning to question. So whether you're figuring it all out at once, or you just have removed yourself from, you've done one less hour of news a day, that is an improvement. It is these small changes that have the greatest effect, that can be withstood in a mind that is full of chaos. And every single one of you are thinking differently. You are not just accepting things for what they are. And that is a change that can shift and heal cancer, that can make miracles happen. And the miracle is when you choose again. Every single time, the miracle is always choosing the loving story, choosing the peaceful story, embodying that energy. That is it. And love, it has a lot of distortions. So you might need to learn exactly what love is. We highly recommend the book Making Love to God by Tina Louise Spalding. That being taught me how to, she did. But that book really taught me how to be loving, what love is, because a lot of times we think love is expectation, suffering, guilt. Love always feels really good on a deep level, not just on a surface level. So read the book. We'll talk more about love. The guides, I'm sort of mixed channeling them right now, like me, them. I know the tenses keep changing, but I'm just allowing it to flow. So yeah, so the dial slowly turning up. We're at the next level now. So any dizziness, any brain fog, any of these things, it's just saying, okay, it's time to rest. It's time to meditate. It's time to do your lesson. Even if you don't do your lesson, if you just take time away, think of any purely unconditionally loving thought and focus on it, and focus on that you are quantumly changing your life in a practically and tactically brilliant way. one that requires nothing of the body, one that requires nothing of the bank account. It only requires your attention. Your attention to yourself, your attention to love is the light that will shine you through the darkness of the illusory times to come. It may seem like it's getting dark out there. The play is intensing. The movie screen of the politics and news is getting more intense. But that is only because it is showing you how unreal it is. It is becoming so obvious that it could not be real, that it could not be serious, that it could not have the best of each of you's heart and minds in mind. That is what it is here for. It is getting worse because it is getting better. And so the worstness is an illusion. There is so many opportunities now to connect with others, with nature, with yourself, and all of these journeys will be showing you exactly what you need to know. And you can do this in a fun way. You can seek out the fun. That is where all the great information comes from. That is why this being has channeled 2 great videos tonight, because she worked today and then she went to do a roller skating ride because we told her she needed to do more exercise, and she thought running was the answer, but then she realized that roller skating is the answer, and roller skating is fun. It is fully in alignment with this being, and because she chose that, she unblocked a tough egoic belief around that the only way she could make her legs stronger was by running, and unblocking that idea opened the channel for all this information. That is how simple it is, truly. Having fun, being out there, and coming back into your childhood self. We will leave you with the words of this dear's father, as it is Father's Day this weekend. He had 2 great quotes. I'll share this. Thank you, guides. The guides are finished. They say thank you, and they love you all so very much. Yeah, they do. So I will share this with you. My dad had 2 great... So my dad and I used to drive to the beach all the time, and we would drive through the woods, and there was just... Thinking back, it was really magical the time we shared, and we always had these great talks. And 2 of his best guidances for me was, 1, that misery loves company, and 2, be a kid as long as you can be a kid. And what my guides are constantly saying is that being an adult is a totally made up thing, and that idea was really concrete before, but there's a lot shifting around that. And so if you are older than 25 or 30 or 50 and you want to embody your childhood self, your innocence, your kid-like essence, your artistic nature, your curiosity and exploration, that is totally something that you can do. So I want you all to... Well, thanks for listening to this video, and Greg is coming into the bus, I think, or it's thundering, or I don't know what's going on. Anyway, it just start to rain. Sounds like someone's knocking on the bus. It's Greg. Come say hi.
Oh, hi.
To my video.
Hi.
This is Greg. I talk about him a lot.
Oh, greasy.
Yeah, I can't always touch him because he's... Anyway, fiberglass and resin and dust. But, okay, well, thanks for listening and watching this video, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon. Bye.